Good morning, children. Sai Ram. I welcome you all to the online class of economics. Children, today I'm going to start the next chapter of our book, Statics for Economics, and the chapter number is chapter 3rd, and the name of our chapter is Census and the Sample Method of Collection of Data. Children, this is the first video of this chapter, and in this video we are going to learn the two methods of collecting the data. The first one is census method and the second is the sampling method, the sample method. And we do learn the various types of sampling method. We are going to learn the types of sampling in the quantitative aspect as well as in the qualitative aspect. Finally, we will learn the ethical considerations in the data collection. So let us start with the first topic, that is census method. Children, as you all know, that any statistical investigation is done on the basis of the data collected from the relevant field of inquiry. So when any statistical inquiry is conducted, an inquiry is to determine as to whether the investigation is to take account of whole population or only a part of it. When we are going to conduct any statistical investigation, now we need to determine first thing that whether each and every element of population has been included for conducting the statistical investigations, or only some of the elements or only a few elements has been taken for conducting the investigations. So when a survey may be conducted, then it should be conducted either in the two ways. First by the census method, and the second is the sample method. Now, what is the census method? Children, you all must be knowing a census is a procedure of systematically acquiring and recording information. What is population census then? A population census consists of collecting information about the population, compiling it, analyzing it, and using it to assess the state and the health of a country and its residents. So there are many points of information collected, typically the gender, marital status, income, and background, among other things. So, census method means, children, when a statistical investigation is conducted wherein the data is collected from each and every element of the population, then it is known as the census method. And basically, this method is generally adopted when the area of investigation is limited and an intensive study of the population is required. So when we are you can say doing the census method of any investigation, then it should be done by highly trained investigators and highly trained investigators to maintain a high degree of accuracy. So what I'm going to say is a census method is that method in which the data are collected covering every item of the universe or the population relating to the problem under investigation. Children, this census method is also known as the complete enumeration or 100% enumeration or the complete survey. And the famous example of this method is the census of India, which is conducted every after 10 years. We are the example of the census method is the population, to know the total population of any country. Like the population census is obviously doing is obviously done every after 10 years. So the last census of India was held in the year 2011. Now, what are the merits, the advantages and disadvantages of the census method? The first advantages of the census method is it is the most accurate count of the country's population. I mean, this is the most accurate. I mean, you can say the data what we have collected is the high degree of accuracy and the reliability, because every item of the population is observed personally, and it is possible to collect a highly accurate and reliable information. Second is it captures many aspects of country's population's data and characteristics. Children, when we are conducting the statistical investigation, the statistical inquiry, knowing the total population of a country, then it is not related with that we are going to find out the total number of male or female peoples living in a country, but this investigation also helpful or to find out the relevant information, like we need to find out how many of the people are literate or illiterate. We do also find out their ages, and also we will find how many of the populations are living in the rural areas or in the urban areas, how many of them are belongs to whatever the category, the ages. So all such relevance we need to find out the birth rate also, we need to find out the, we can also find the death rate also, the infant mortality rate. So all this information is being done with the same way. I mean, when we are calculating the total number of population living in a country, we do also find out the relevant informations. And the third advantage is it also includes information about the income, housing, etc. I mean, it is very helpful to find it is also to find out the total income of the people. I mean, what are their standard of living, how much income they are earning, whatever are their expenditure, and so on. So the next one is the disadvantages. So the first disadvantages is like it is very expensive. As you all know, children, when we are conducting the census method of collecting the data, or any statistical investigation is done by the census method, since this data are obtained by observing each and every item of the population, therefore it is very expensive method of investigation, especially in case of large population. So when we have to conduct the census method of investigation, we need to appoint n number of enumerators which will go door to door and can seek the various informations. So by hiring n number of enumerators, we need to make them payment. We need to make the certain, we have to bear certain expenses also. That is why it is saying that the census method is very expensive. Second is it can only be done after a long time. The census method we cannot do at the daily routine of work. It is to be done at a certain point of time. I mean, the census method can be conducted after taking some you can say some gap. I mean, we cannot do it at the daily basis or with the short period of time. It should have been done again after a long process of time, after a long time. As we know that in our country the population census is being done every after 10 years. Like every 10 years we are going to calculate the total population of a country. So the last population was done in the year 2020 to 21. Now this or the next population census will be conducted in the year 2020 to 2021. So that is all about the census method of the data. Now we are going to learn the sampling method. What is sampling, children? The sample method. So the process of selecting a number of individuals for a study in such a way that the individual represents the larger group from which they were selected is known as the sampling method. It means when only some representative items of a population are selected and data collected from these items are used for the analysis, then this kind of method is known as the sampling method. A sampling method, or the purpose of the sampling method, is to gather data about the population in order to make an inference that can be generalized to the population. So, in short, we can say that a sampling method is that method in which the data is collected about the sample on a group of items taken from the population for examination, and conclusions are drawn on their basis. So, children, the sample method is widely used in our day to day life. As you all know, a lady in the kitchen, for example, tests only a grains or twice of the rice to know whether the rice is boiled or not. But examining only a few drop of, by examining only a few drop of blood, a doctor determines the blood group of a person. So this is basically an example of the sample method. Now, there are the various types of sampling in the quantitative as well as in quantitative researches, or the in aptitude. Broadly, the types of sampling in the quantitative aspect can be broadly categorized in the two categories. The first one is your probability samples, and the second is your non-probability samples. So we do have the various classifications of the sampling method. Now, in probability sampling, we have the systematic sampling, cluster sampling, simple random sampling, stratified sampling, and in the non-probability samples, we have the conveniences sampling, judgment sampling, quota sampling, and the snowfall sampling. So, children, let us start with the first kind of sampling. We call it a systematic sampling. Children, what is the systematic sampling? Children, the sample is chosen by selecting a random sampling, or you can say by selecting a random starting point and then picking every the nth item in succession from the sampling frame is known as the systematic sampling. It means, children, under this systematic method, or according to the systematic sampling, units of the populations are geographically and alphabetically arranged, and every nth item of the numbered items is selected as a sample item. Moreover, we can understood as, under this method, out of the complete list of available population, the sample is selected by taking every nth item from this list. So what we are going to do is how this sampling can be done, children. The data, or you can say the units, are being arranged numerically, geographically, and alphabetically. Then every nth item of the population, or from the nth item of the numbered item, is selected as a sample item, as a sampling. For example, if 10 out of 100 students are to be selected for a sample, then 100 students will be numbered and systematically arranged. So one item of the first 10 would be selected as will be selected at random, and subsequently every 10th item from the selected number will be selected to frame a sample. Suppose if the first selected number is 5th, as we have arranged the data numerically, geographically, as well as in alphabetically, now the first 200 students have been you can systematically placed according to this given geographically, this alphabetically we have arranged it. Then out of this first 10, suppose we are selecting the sixth item, then the subsequent numbers would be like 16, then 26, 36, 26, 36, 46, 56, 66, 76, and so on. So such numbers has been selected for conducting the statistical investigation. So this is called a systematic sampling, in which the data are first being placed systematically according to the concerned area, the geographically area, thereafter the alphabetically and numerically. Then only we are choosing any number, and out of this every 10th number we are selecting the same digit number, and we will conduct an investigation. So this kind of investigation or the sampling is called as the systematic sampling. And when the ordering of the element is related to the characteristics of interest, the systematic sampling increases the representativeness of the sample. So here in this question also, for example, in the slide, you just see the slide, what is we have taken an example. For example, there are 1 lakh elements in the population, and as a sample of 1,000 is desired. So in this case, the sampling interval is 100. So a random number between 1 to 100 is selected. If, for example, the number is 23rd is selected, then the sample consists of element that is 23, then 123, 223, 323, 423, 523, and so on. These numbers are being selected for conducting the investigation. So this kind of investigation is called as the systematic sampling. uh, in the same way, you just see the slide. If here, if the A, B, C, D, E, these are the various random number. I mean, these are the various consist of populations, and out of this we are selecting the third line. So whatever the, or you can say, if 2 has been selected from first to fifth, then 2, then 5, next after 5 is 7, next after 5 is 12, so on, so on. This number is being collected for conducting the investigation. So children, next kind of sampling is the cluster sampling. What do you understand by the cluster sampling, children? Children, under the cluster sampling, under this method, the total population is divided into some recognizable subdivisions, known as clusters, and then out of all the clusters, a given number of clusters are chosen at random, and all the items covered by the selected clusters are included in the sample. So the largest population is first divided into the mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive subpopulation or clusters. Then a random sample of cluster is selected based on the probability sampling techniques such as SRS. So for each selected cluster, either all the elements are included in the sample, or a sample of element is drawn probability. So this we can understood by taking one numeric by taking one example. Children, for example, we can say that suppose if we are interested in obtaining the income status of household of the rural areas of a state like Uttarakhand. So if there are 100 villages, then obtaining a list of all the household may be difficult at a list of all the household may be a difficult task. So under the clusters method, what we are doing is, it is possible to divide these 100 villages into the different clusters, such that they are homogeneous between themselves, like by including some villages which are economically weaker, or some with a sound economic background, I mean, we are, if 15 clusters are formed in this manner, then out of this clusters, we are selected some clusters at random. So all the household of the villages covered by these two clusters will form a cluster sampling. So this cluster should be as small as possible, consistent with the cost and the limitations of the survey. And the second is the number of sampling units in each cluster should be approximately same. So as I just given you example, as we are going to know the income status of the 100 villages, what we have done, we have categorized the 100 villages people, I mean the household who are living in the rural or the village areas, we have divided into the two categories. The first categories we have made is the economically weaker sections, and the second economically weaker villages, and the second is the economically stronger villages. Then then we will easily conduct our cluster sampling. So a graphically illustration of the cluster sampling is as children A, B, C, D. These are the five villages I mean given. The random select three clusters like B, C, sorry, B, D, and E. So we are so within each cluster randomly select one or two elements. We have selected like 7 from the B, and 18, 20 from D, and 21 and 23 from E. So the resulting sample consists of the population element is like 7, 18, 20, 21, and 23rd. So this is called a cluster sampling, and no elements are selected from the cluster A and cluster C. So we have a merit and demerit of this cluster sampling. The first advantage, the merit is simple as complete list of sampling units within the population not required, and second is the less travel resources required. We do have the disadvantages of cluster sampling as well. The first is the cluster members may be more alike than those in another cluster that is homogeneous, and this needs to be taken into account in the sample size and in the analysis. So these are basically the advantages and disadvantages. Now we have stratified sampling. What is the stratified sampling, children? So, children, in stratified sampling, random sampling, in this method, what we are going to do is, in this method, children, the universe or the entire population is divided into a number of groups or strata, and then the certain number of items are taken from each group at random. So we can also say that this method of sampling is generally adopted when the population consists of different groups with different characteristics, and according to this method of sampling, population is divided into different strata having different characteristics, and some of the items are selected from each strata so that the entire population get represented. So that is why it is called a strata method. So the main purpose is to ensure that all the characteristics of heterogeneous populations are adequately represented in the sample, and it also helps in increasing the accuracy of the result of investigation. Suppose for example, children, suppose there are 50 students in class 11, and out of them 30 have studied mathematics and 20 have studied home science in the class 10th. Then the population of 50 students get divided into the two strata consisting of 30 students in mathematics and 20 students in home science respectively. So from each of these strata, I mean from mathematics and from the home science, these two strata, items will be selected proportionately such that the sample represents the characteristics of the entire population. So if of the total 50 students only a sample of 5 is to be selected, then we shall randomly select 3 out of the first stratum comprising 30 students, and 2 of the second strata comprising 20 students. So this items may also be selected unproportionately from the different strata. So it means out of this 50 students we have to select only 5 students, as there are two strata we have, once for the mathematics and second for the home science. Then out of the 30 students we are selecting 3 students, and out of the 20 students who have opted the home science we have collected the 2 students. Then this investigation can be completed in a successful way. So this is called a stratified, or we can say the mixed sampling. uh, So children randomly select a number from first to fifth for each stratum A to E. The resulting consisting of the population element is 4, 7, 13, 19 and 21. So one element is selected from each column. So this is called your stratified or the mixed sampling. We do have the advantages as well of this stratified sampling, random sampling. The first is the more accurate. The first is the more accurate sample. So it can be used for both the proportional and the non-proportional sources. So children, this method covers, as you know, the diverse characteristics of the population. So on the basis of the diverse characteristics of the population, a comparative analysis of the data became possible. So this method of sampling offers reliable as well as the meaningful results. So we do have the disadvantages as well. So the first disadvantage is identifying of all members of the population can be difficult. So children, this method, as I just said, is suitable only when there is a complete knowledge about the diverse characteristics of the population. So this has a limited scope, by the way. And the second is identifying members of all subgroups may be difficult, can be difficult. So we do have a possibility of cheating at the time of classification of the population into the different strata. And this and when the size of population is already small, it may be difficult to further divide it into the smaller parts or strata. So now children, let us move on to the fourth variety of sampling. The fourth variety of sampling is simple random sampling. Children, what is a random sampling basically? Children, the random sampling is that method of sampling in which each and every item of the universe have equal chance of being selected in the sampling, or in other words we can also say there is an equal probability for every item of the universe being selected in the sampling. So random sampling methods refers to a method in which every item in the universe has a known chance of being chosen for a sample. So you can see that this method, random sampling may be done in any of the following ways. We can conduct the random sampling in two ways. The first one is the lottery method, and the second is the triple table method. Now, what is the lottery method, children? In this method, the paper slips are made for each item of the universe, and this slips are put into the box, and then it has been shuffled out and then impartially some of the slips are drawn out to form a sample of the universe. So this is called a lottery method, a kind of lottery where the name of the element and the slips we have made, and we put it into the box. Then we are keeping a shuffle, and we point out, and we take out any number of, I mean, if you want to find out 3 or 4, then we pick out the 4 slips from the box, and we will conduct an investigation. So such kind of method is known as the lottery method. The second one is the table method, the triple, the I mean the triple table method. Triple table method. So there are some statisticians which have prepared a set of the table called the table of random numbers. A sample is framed with reference to these numbers or these tables, and of all these tables, Tippett table is the most widely used, and it uses basically 41,600 figures. So Tippett has involved 10,400 numbers, which is comprises of the 4 unit each. And for the use of this method, all items of the universe are first arranged in an order. Then, using the Tippett's table, the required number of items are selected as are needed for a sample. So this is called as a simple sampling, simple random method. What are the advantages of this random sampling? Children, we do have a few advantages as well. The first one is easy to conduct. So this method is free from the personal base of the investigator first of all, and each and every item of the universe stand equal chance of being selected. For example, like if you are like 46 students, you are there in your class 11, and out of this 46 students, I have to choose the two class monitors. Now what I am going to do is, I have make a list of I have make a slip of all your 46 students by I make a list, or you can say I will write your name on a particular piece of slip, and will put it into the box, and that is the 46 slips I will made, by writing your name, and will put it into a box, and they will shuffled out perfectly. Then I will call any student to pick up the two slips. Now whatever the two slips being picked is been chosen or been selected as a class monitor. So now here each and every student, I mean all the 46 students I have given, have the equal chance of being selected as a class monitor. So that is the suitability of this kind of sample method, and it meets assumptions of many statistical processes. Now we do have the disadvantages as well. It is identification of all members of the population may be very difficult. So this method does not guarantee proportionate representation of different items of the universe, and contacting all members of the sample may be very difficult. So children, the random sampling does not give any weightage to certain important items in the universe. So, children, so far what we have studied, we have learned first the census method of collecting the data. We have learned how the census method of statistical investigation can be done. Thereafter, we have learned the merit and demerits. Thereafter, we have learned the types of, then we have learned the sample method and various types of sampling method. We have learned that the sampling method is categorized into the two categories. The first one is the probability sampling, and the second is non probability sampling. In probability sampling, we have learned the four varieties of sampling. The first one is, you can say, systematic sampling, then stratified sampling, quota sampling, and finally we have learned the simple random sampling. So in this video, that's it for today, children, and in the next video we are going to learn the non-probability types of sampling. I mean in the qualitative researchers sampling. So children, that's all for today. Have a nice day and thank you so much for watching, and Sai Ram.